Why motivation doesn't make you money. All right, there's a really funny adage that says you can't cash passion. And that is so true. So that's my passion project. Same thing is true with motivation. You can't cash motivation. And in this video, I'm gonna show you what I do when I'm feeling a little bit stuck. And I do need a little bit of a kick in the pants to keep going though. Let's dive in. Hey guys, I remember certain points of this bootstrapping my business out of a bedroom. I had 4 of us in there. We were all little picnic tables just smashed together in this tiny bedroom in my house. And there were times when my guys were not in there and it was just me. And I laid on the floor listening to motivational videos on YouTube, which you probably have done. And it was the same like 5 over and over again because I was just like, oh, what did I do? Oh my gosh, I don't know. Like, I have no problem with someone who wants to stay with a job. That's totally great because I was really tempted a lot of times to do it. If you want to keep a job or stay an entrepreneur, it doesn't matter to me as long as you're happy. But there were some times I was like, oh, this sucks, Now, I have found that when I start to have a lack in motivation, it usually is due to paralysis. It's when you have so much stuff to do, or it's not clear, the path moving forward is not clear, that you're stuck and locked in paralysis. So what I'm gonna walk through is actually a framework I created for myself that I really I was not trying to share it with a lot of people. Russell Brunson heard me talk about it and he had me teaching on the Funnel Hacking Live stage in front of 5,000 people. And now it's part of his One Funnel Away challenge, which has had like hundreds of thousands of people go through it. So this is awesome. It's 5 parts and I'm gonna go through piece by piece through each one of them. And this is specifically why obviously you can't cash motivation, but what I need to do when I feel like I'm in paralysis and I can't get motivated. This is how I break myself from that. It's 5 steps. Quickly though, let me just tell you that motivation is weak. Motivation always gives out. And it's not like you 24/7 always feel like doing what you're supposed to, right? So it's a facade to think that you should be motivated all the time. I'm not. I definitely am not. Okay, there's times when probably 80% of what's on my to-do list, I want to do none of it. It has little to do with what I want to do. Motivation is weak. It gives up. It always gives up. To seek to be motivated 24/7 is a sham. All right, what beats motivation every time is discipline and environment. That's it. Discipline and environment. And the easiest way to have discipline is to have a sweet environment. I'm not saying you gotta build a studio. I'm saying whatever you put your back up against the wall in your life. When I left my job, I was negative cash flow. I had no product. I had no funnel. Don't do that. That was freaky. It's half the reason I was laying on the floor listening to those videos. But man, like motivation is crap. It gives up. It is weak. It is not something that I think you should waste your time seeking. So instead, do these 5 things. The first thing I do if I'm in the middle of paralysis and I feel like I can't move forward, the first thing I do is I need to reassess my goal. I am not a fan of the goal setting styles that are out there where it's like, take your goal, multiply it by 2. Now add a 0, that's your goal. And it's like this pie in the sky crap. I don't do that. I set like 2 goals a year. That's it. One's financial, one's physical usually, or mental. And that's it. I don't really set a whole, I just rush. I go, I push, I move forward. I don't spend tons of time sitting around. I certainly write my goals down, but I don't make a lot of them. So what I mean by goal is I want you to imagine that you are trying to climb a mountain, all right? I did a 3-week backpacking trip when I was growing up. I spent a lot of time outside and spent some time in the Army. I love the outdoors. So pretend like you're gonna go climb a mountain and you're like, that's the peak I'm gonna go for. I'm stoked for it, it's gonna be awesome. If you can't name the peak, that's half the problem right there. You can't even do the next 4 steps, okay? Do these in the order I present them, by the way. If you don't know the peak, you can't climb 2 peaks at the same time. That's the point. If you have no clarity on the goal, you're not moving anyway. You have nothing to shoot for, right? Nothing to go towards. I don't care if you even hit it, but just be moving in the general direction towards the thing. If you can't even name it, that you can't even win a little bit. The second step is I call the brutal honesty step. I want you to imagine that you take your phone out and you open up the Maps app. Imagine that you put in an address in the Maps app and it shows you the address, but it doesn't show you your current location. It'd be kind of a useless app. Not to be a useless app, but it would literally just be an app full of a really big map. It wouldn't say, in 300 feet, take a left, right? Since it can't tell you where you are, it can't tell you where to go, right? And so step number 1 is, here's the peak I'm going towards, while step number 2 is brutal honesty in where I am. Brutal honesty. This is hard for most people who want to think they're further along than they are. Brutal honesty. Where are you right now, okay? Once you learn how to do that, the benefit is that you're able to Actually, no, okay, in 200 feet, take a left. Okay, this lets you do the rest of the process. There's been a few times where I've had to pull this off on myself, and I'm just like, all right, where am I trying to go? Where am I right now? And that lets me do the next piece, which is the keymost piece of this entire piece. All right, what I'm about to share with you, this is the third step here, is I believe to be one of the biggest reasons people get stuck in the first place, and definitely the reason why they stay stuck and completely overwhelmed and full of paralysis. I call it just-in-time learning. In manufacturing, there's this manufacturing style called just-in-time manufacturing, right? Just-in-time, meaning you only make it the moment you need it. You only order it as soon as you need the thing. You don't really hold inventory is what that means. Well, the same thing has to do with learning. Guys, I read way less than you think that I do. And that's not something to like toot my horn about. It's just, I read different than you probably think I do. It's not that I don't. It's not that I don't study. I don't read, I hunt. It's because I practice what I call just-in-time learning. Meaning, this is the thing, okay? I now know where I'm going, I got the goal. I have brutal honesty in where I am. And most people don't get started because they're like, Steve, how do you handle step 89 in entrepreneurship? And I'm like, are you on step 88? They're like, no. And I'm like, then why on earth are you even caring about it? That's why you're not moving anywhere. Entrepreneurship is a faith-based game. You don't ever see beginning to end. No one's handing me a to-do list when I walk into my office every day. You understand? It is black, it's dark, it's night. I can see the next 3 steps. Even right now as I make these videos, I know the next 3 steps. And as soon as I take a 4th step, a new 3rd step starts to appear. That's just how entrepreneurship works. So to think that you need to see everything and have all the T's crossed and the I's dotted before you'll move, right? And I'm not trying to be offensive, but you engineers are the worst when you're in my audience and you're like, now what do we do on step 5023? I'm like, have you even taken step 4? They're like, no, I'm not gonna do that till I know my complete clear path. Choose a different industry. No, that is not how this game works at all, at all. So this is what I do. I call it just-in-time learning. Just-in-time learning is a way for me to simplify and refine, which is an army term. I'm gonna simplify and refine my plan. I know the goal, I know where I am, and the 3rd step is for me to only learn for the single next step in front of me. That's it. My leg's up right now. I'm like, I get my foot up and I'm like, okay, single next step in front of me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, I think I know how to do this one. Boom. The next new step kind of starts to fade into view just a little bit. Everything else is dark. I can see the silhouette of the peak. That's it. That's entrepreneurship, okay? Right? And then I'm like, okay, here's the next one. And I'm like, crap, I don't quite know how to take the next step in entrepreneurship. Single next problem, single next step, not step number 2, number 3. That's why half of you guys don't make any action. You're like, I have to know everything. I got to read everything. I know I haven't read that book, Steve. I haven't read that book, Steve. I must have to read all those books in order to have success. Garbage. Not true at all. Okay. What you do is you say, hey, here's the problem that's directly in front of me. Dang it. I don't know how to put my foot down. Podcast, book, listen to my guides, listen to my, my mentors. Bam! Now I can put the step down. That's how it works. Okay, that's how it works. Entrepreneurship is a game, constant game of problem solving. That's it. So if you don't like solving problems, don't be an entrepreneur. Because literally every day is a brand new problem. Brand new. And so I practice this 3rd piece, right, is just-in-time learning. I don't really learn unless it's to solve an immediate thing directly in front of me. I can't tell you how much that simplifies my life. Oh, I would be buried in books. I have 6 full bookshelves at my house. I love books. I have so many of them. I collect them like crazy. I love books, but I am not reading them cover to cover. I am hunting answers to single problems that helps me to place the single next foot, and that is it. That should simplify so much of your life so you can actually move. Guys, I'm gonna share the last 2 pieces of my 5-part This Is How You Get Unstuck framework. Hit the subscribe button if you're liking this though. Please hit the thumbs up if you're liking it also. And also hit the bell notification because we put these videos out every single day. I'd also like to ask though, in the comments, tell me what else you do to get unstuck. I have a lot of favorite motivational videos that I listen to on YouTube and I love them so much, but what is your favorite way to get unstuck when you're feeling just total paralysis? Oh my gosh, what do I do next? Step number 4 is the industry framework. Think of it like this. If I'm gonna climb Mount Everest and I know the peak and I know where I am and I know my single next step, although I don't quite know what it's gonna be like when I hit elevation, 20,000 feet or 21, 22, you know what I mean? I should at least have somebody who said, hey Steve, here's the map of where we find people get the greatest success climbing Everest. You know what I mean? Every single industry is selling on the internet somehow, right? For the most part, like I don't know, do you know any industries that aren't, or at least collect leads from the internet? If that's the case, and someone else is doing it and you're not, you're the variable. I want you to really hear that. If someone else is making money on the internet and you're not, it is not their fault. It is yours. You're the variable, right? And so own that. And the best way to own that is to know your industry's framework for how your business works on the internet. So that's half of what my company does. We know that industry really, really well. Here's the framework that works really. Boom. No, we don't know what it's gonna be like on your 15th step up Mount Everest. I don't know. But my guess is that you follow this framework and you do your homework and you just learn for the next step, it's gonna be totally fine. But expect though, right here on the map, there's a ravine. And we find that it's the best way to cross it when you cross it this way and this angle and use this tactic and strategy. But does that make sense? So at a 30,000 foot view, you should still, even though it's dark, and entrepreneurship is a faith-based game, from a 30,000 foot view, you should still have a pretty good idea of the map you're supposed to follow that most likely guarantees success. Last step I do right here, this one has been very shaking for me. First time I ever asked this, I was on a flight back from an event I spoke at, and I was sitting there and I asked myself, I was like, oh, it was a great event, super cool, it was awesome. How can I increase my speed? That's the question. How can I increase my speed? There's only so much time in the day. What's the most important things to be working on? How can I increase my speed? And answering that question has come in two flavors. The first is, how can I increase my speed? The only way I've been able to answer it is by boosting my business systems. The other way is by boosting my marketing systems. You have to understand that marketing and business systems have this dance, right? And there's gonna be a lot of extra. Oh my gosh, okay, so actually think about it like this. Like, I sell. Oh my gosh, look at all these sales coming in. And then suddenly my marketing systems are here and my marketing begins to outpace my business, right? That's when you start noticing fulfillment and a company starts to drop a little. Natural, don't beat yourself up. But slow down your marketing systems and then boost your business systems, and your business systems start to outpace your marketing. And you're like, oh my gosh, we're really expensive to run. And then what do? You go back and you boost your marketing. That dance right there, a lot of people talk about that. That's a very common dance. And so when I ask the question, how can I increase my speed? It's usually an improvement and in one of those two. And being cognizant of that really helps me see what steps I need to take in order to go faster. Guys, I got a free gift here for you. If you are all about trying to take the horns of life and go make something of yourself and make yourself even better than you currently are, you're probably a capitalist pig. Hey guys, I want to give you a Capitalist Pig shirt for free. Actually, the link is in the description. Go to capitalismswag.com. It's $9 for shipping. We actually go in the hole on those shirts. We don't make money on them, okay? But we want you to have it. We believe what it stands for. We believe what it helps people become in their life, okay? So go to capitalismswag.com. The shirt is free and the link is in the description below.